figuring out what the next setup is with without Sal and Travis here to talk about things. But we have good people everywhere, so we're not worried. We'll figure it out.
You still got Eddie Perez, obviously.
Absolutely.
Does that feel like the culture's still there, that catching culture?
Of course. I know Eddie's going to take a little bit more work on with the catchers, and trust Eddie. And Eddie's been around long enough; he knows exactly what he's doing.
How beneficial was this off season for you, from a physical and mental standpoint?
I mean, it was good. It's always good to take a little bit of time off and get away from it. So, I'm excited to be back, and I think one of the off seasons to get yourself in a place where you're ready to get back, and I'm there.
I know you don't want to lose Travis, but how excited are you to catch maybe a lion's share of these games this year?
I'm excited for that. It stinks losing Travis because Travis was a good friend of mine, and so we're gonna miss him. But the silver lining is I might get to play some more and get some more at bats, and I prefer playing. So.
When you look back at it in perspective, retrospective, did you think maybe you pressed last year after your return, losing 2 months and being kind of behind when you got in there?
Yeah. You could look at any point in any season and be like, I was pressing there, and I wasn't right, I wasn't myself. So yeah, I would agree with that.
How about having what Trump can do? You've seen him step in
For sure.
And then you got Baldwin in the wings. Do you feel good about the situation, where however it pans out?
Absolutely. There's a bunch of good people in the building, and those guys can really catch. And, both those guys can really hit too, and we've seen it from both of them. So we'll move along, and we feel good about what we got there.
What's your thought on why it never really clicked last year? In terms of, was it just not playing? Would it have benefited you to play more frequently? Was the oblique in the back of your mind? There's so many different things we can think of. But what were your thoughts?
I'm sure it was a combination of a bunch of things. Missing much time at the beginning is not, that was not the way I wanted to start the season. And then, I'm not sure my swing ever felt correct coming off the oblique. Not that I was in any pain or hurt. It just, some things fell off, and I never caught up and found a way to adjust. And, that's on me. I should be able to adjust quicker than that. So, trying to narrow down what went wrong and, iron those things out.
You guys lose a few guys from the pitching staff, but how much do you like kind of what you have coming back in terms of Sale, Ronaldo, even, somebody like Grant?
Yeah, you look at the names over there, and we feel awesome about the guys we have on that side of the locker room. We feel good, and we'll start piecing together and see what we have.
Sean, you being a part of so many of the injuries for this team last year, was that addressed at all kind of coming into this season, just among the team being like, hey, last year this was what hurt us, pun intended there, I guess, but is there a way to just kind of talk about that you guys discussed at all?
I don't think it needs to be talked about.
Yeah.
I think everyone's pretty aware of what happened, and I don't think there was any reason to point to anything specifically, because I know everyone that got hurt works very hard at trying to stay healthy. We all know it. I don't think there's any reason to talk about it.
So much focus on the Dodgers and all the money they spent, but when you guys look at your lineup and realize basically everybody in it missed 2 or more months last year, do you feel like maybe you can not surprise people, but maybe people have forgotten how good this lineup was 2 years ago when everybody was healthy?
Yeah, I'll take this lineup against anybody's lineup.
How big a loss is Max to this pitching staff? I know you guys have a bunch of guys coming up, even Gwinnett, but to lose him, how big is that?
Max is kind of staple here, so just going to be a different vibe without him. And like I said, we have a bunch of awesome pitchers, and we will be all right.
What do you like about some of the young arms on the team? You're looking at Schwellenbach and Ian Anderson and Holmes, competing for those 4th and 5th spots. And how valuable is this time to really get to work with them this spring training?
It's very important. We're excited to see Ian back and feeling good. And then obviously we saw what Schwellenbach can do and what Holmes can do. And both those guys earned opportunities, and they're in a spot where they're gonna have to go out and pitch and do well. So I don't know. We'll see.
Is it different catching for a Cy Young winner over there? Does it any fun with him? Anything like that?
I'm just really happy for him. I don't know how fun, but I feel good. Haven't caught a Cy Young winner. However much I had to do with that, probably not that much. That's mostly on him. But it's still, I guess, a feather in my cap, but it's a huge honor for him, and he deserved it.
What excites you a lot about Ian Anderson coming back up? Obviously, he had a lot of success back in 21 in the World Series and he's dealt with some injuries, but what excites you a lot about him?
I mean, the way we've seen him pitch in big games. So we know that's not an uncomfortable spot for him, and he's good to go.
From your perspective about Chris Sale, kind of what about the way he pitched last year stood out, impressed you the most?
I mean, just his competitiveness. You know, willing to take the ball and go every single time. So, yeah, he was phenomenal.
Where's the confidence in this team? Like last year, it was World Series or bust. Like, where do you feel coming into this camp? Where do you feel like it is?
I feel like it's the same every year, right? I think like the goal at the end of the year is World Series, and anything short of that's a disappointment.